We're back again with more deaths in horror movies. Like I've said in the past, when it comes to horror movies, we expect a certain level of death, and with many horrors we get that in abundance. These are more of the top 5 worst horror movie death scenes, part 6. Before we jump in, there will be a ton of spoilers. I'm warning you right now, so don't get upset when I ruin all of these movies for you, because a lot of these deaths occur at the end. So, you're welcome. Let's jump in. Coming in at number 5, we have Annihilation, the bear scene. Annihilation is an insane thrill ride of a movie with an ending that left many folks torn, but it's not the ending that we're going to be discussing. Instead, it's the bear scene. Released in 2018 and directed by Alex Garland, Annihilation stars the likes of Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Gina Rodriguez, Tessa Thompson, Tuva Novotny, and Oscar Isaac, with the story following a group of explorers who enter what is known as the Shimmer, a mysterious quarantine zone of mutating plants and animals that was created by an alien presence. Now, everything inside of the Shimmer is strange, but arguably the most strange is the mutated bear. During one moment in the movie, the team had been bound to chairs by another character after slowly being driven insane by the Shimmer. That is when they begin to hear a call for help from a character who was killed earlier on in the movie. However, they soon learn that the cries are coming from the mutated bear, which killed the character Cass and absorbed parts of her into itself. Gina Rodriguez is then brutally killed by the bear, with her jaw being torn clean off, before Tessa Thompson frees herself and shoots the bear dead. What a hero. It's a terrifying and nerve-wracking moment that lingered with audiences long after the credits rolled. Before we jump into number 4, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps us out a lot in the YouTube algorithm. Pushes our content out, and at the end of the day, I think we all want more of me. Coming in at number 4, Evil Dead, Evil Meets Chainsaw. Now I'm talking about the 2013 version of Evil Dead here, so sorry to let some of you down. Directed by Fede Alvarez and starring the likes of Jane Levy, Shiloh Fernandez, Lou Taylor Pucci, Jessica Lucas, and Elizabeth Blackmore, Evil Dead is of course a soft reboot of the original Evil Dead movie, and follows a group of 5 people who become haunted and killed off by supernatural entities while staying at a remote cabin in the woods. Now, some backstory before we get into the climactic moment. The group of friends stay at the cabin while one of them, Mia, attempts to overcome her heroin addiction. After doing some exploring, they discover in the basement a variety of things: rotting animal corpses, a shotgun, and of course the Naturum de Monto, with one of the group members, Eric, reading an incantation from the book, and in turn awakening a malevolent force. Classic. This also results in an abomination version of Mia arriving, with vines coming out of its mouth and possessing her. Now, in the climactic showdown between Mia and the abomination, Mia is forced to fight for survival against the Taker of Souls, who is in the form of Mia. The two engage in a truly bloody battle, with a downpour of blood raining down on them. Limbs are sliced off with a chainsaw, with Mia even taking the chainsaw to the face of the abomination, slicing it completely in two. It's a grisly and gruesome conclusion to a great movie, making it one of the goriest horrors out there. Coming in at number 3, we have Upgrade, the kitchen fight. I think it's safe to say that horror movies have taught us many things, but one thing is that literally anything can be used as a weapon. You try hard enough, that is, and that's what goes down in Upgrade. Released in 2018 and directed by Lee Wannell, Upgrade is a cyberpunk action horror film starring the likes of Logan Marshall Green, Betty Gabriel, and Harrison Gilbertson, with it following a technophobe who is implanted with a chip that allows him to control his body after a mugging leaves him paralyzed. Some backstory before we begin. Gray Trace, played by Logan Marshall Green, is a mechanic who was involved in a car crash alongside his wife, with 4 men proceeding to attack them, shooting Gray in the neck and leaving him paralyzed. This is when he accepts a STEM implant, a chip that would supposedly allow him to walk. However, STEM is way more powerful than Gray initially realized, with the technology convincing Gray to hunt down his wife's attacker, and also giving him capabilities beyond his wildest dreams, essentially making him unstoppable. In one particular scene, Gray breaks into the home of one of the attackers and a fight breaks out. He allows STEM to take full control of his body, with him grabbing anything in the kitchen to use as a weapon against his opponent. Before we know it, STEM grabs a kitchen knife. Instead of stabbing the attacker, STEM pulls it up to the attacker's mouth and makes his smile a whole lot bigger. It's absolutely horrific to watch and a horrible way to die, that's for sure. Coming in at number 2, we have Final Destination 5, The Gymnast. I think we can all agree at this point that we can't have a worst horror movie death list without including one of the Final Destination movies on it. This time we're discussing 5. Released in 2011 and directed by Steve Quayle, Final Destination 5 is a 3D supernatural horror that, like always, follows the same Final Destination formula. It's a classic. A premonition is had, an accident occurs, and death begins picking off the survivors one by one. Now, in Final Destination 5, the main catastrophic event is the collapse of a bridge, with Sam Lawton having a premonition of the collapse before it even happens, in turn saving a few survivors who, like I said, begin to get picked off one by death. Now, the death of Candace is perhaps one of the more grisly deaths, with it going from 0 to 100 so damn fast. Not to mention the manner in which she dies is utterly insane. Just wait. Like all deaths in the Final Destination movies, a series of chain reactions is what results in the death, and the same is said for this one. We're in a gymnasium. The AC is kicked on and a fan plugged in to keep the gymnast from overheating. However, the cord is frayed with the wires exposed. Classic. The AC then begins to leak and surprise surprise right onto the exposed wires. The AC begins to rattle, dropping a screw onto the beam that Candace is doing a routine on, but don't worry, she doesn't land on it and the water is avoided. Phew. Instead, she heads to the bars to perform another routine, but the bars are loose. While she's swinging away, another unfortunate soul steps on the screw, screaming out in pain, falling off the beam, knocking over the ball of chalk, which lands directly in front of the fan, which blows the chalk all over the room and right into Candace's face as she's swinging. She then falls and somehow manages to snap and break every single bone in her body. It's ridiculous but incredibly gruesome, and perhaps one of the worst ways to go out. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have Apostle: Purification. Now, this is a movie that completely blindsided me, mostly due to the fact that the tone shifts significantly halfway through, and it leaves you with your hand over your mouth. Released in 2018 and directed by Gareth Evans, Apostle is a period horror movie starring the likes of Dan Stevens, Christine Forsyth, Paul Higgins and Michael Sheen, with it following a British man who heads to a remote island to rescue his sister from an evil cult. Now, this may sound familiar to you, and that's because it is heavily inspired by The Wicker Man, and you'll notice similar elements throughout. Thomas Richardson heads to the island not long after a ransom is set for his sister, and while there he poses as a convert, encountering the leader of the cult alongside 2 convicts. They claim that the island was rendered fertile through blood sacrifices, with it also being revealed that the cult are no longer willing to pay for the continuous animal sacrifices, meaning they need to move on to human ones. Now, in one of the most shocking and disturbing scenes, one character, Jeremy, is tied up for a purification ritual, which is all due to his girlfriend being killed by another member of the group, with Jeremy being framed for the death. Now, the purification ritual involves a drill being inserted into the top of Jeremy's head until it quite literally explodes. It marks a significant shift in the movie, which up until this point was a bog standard folk horror, shifted into a very gruesome and bloody horror movie. Drill to the head. Horrible way to go. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Which horror movie death is your favourite? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do about 7. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos, Top 5 Bermuda Triangle horror stories. Charles Snow said, "It's always true stories that are the most interesting and terrifying sometimes. Life really can be a horror movie." Ain't that a fact? I think if 2020 and 2021 has taught us anything, it is that the world is a horror story. Our reality is the scariest part of this universe. Sad times. Adam's House said, "If the Bermuda Triangle does take you to another reality, I'd love to take a trip down there. Maybe in that other reality, I'll have a girlfriend." Honestly, preach, Adam. I feel the exact same way. Maybe I should go down there. John V said, "I'll go to the Bermuda Triangle if you join me, Dark Queen." I'm already there. Just come meet me. I'm waiting. Maybe we're all in the Bermuda Triangle and we just have no idea. I'm there though. Nightflame 3000 said, "You should do a top 5 horror characters that should be added to Dead by Daylight, even though if they added the Dark Queen, you'd be way OP." Honestly, I love this. I wish I could do this. You never know. Maybe one day. I was playing Dead by Daylight the other day, and it's great. New characters, Pyramid Head's added. Pyramid Head is great. But yeah, I would be way OP. I'd be like Freddy Krueger when they just added him to the game, and no one could go up against him. It was too hard. Now they nerfed him and he's shit. Jared Devil Dog said, "Thank you, Lucy. It's great to see you almost daily. Also, your hair is pretty." Thank you. I don't remember how my hair looked in that video. It was probably either up or down. Only 2 ways about it. Yeah, and I have been more frequent on the channel recently because we upped our counts, so that's why. Mark Lopez said, "Hey, what happened to the bloopers? I call shenanigans." Yeah, I guess they left the bloopers out of that video. I'm always funny, so there should always be bloopers. If there's no bloopers in this video, words will be had. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and until next time, I'll see you later. With it one the same is said. With it one the same as said? What? That's not even English. Like all deaths in the Final Destination movies, a series of chain reactions is what result. F off. Oh, itchy nose. Ow. it means I'm gonna have an argument. It's an old wives' tale. Oh my god, it's so itchy.